So I brought out the rest of my Roma tomatoes. They were breaking inside, they were getting weak, not enough lumens for the demand. The pots were too small, so I decided to bring them outside. You can see that this one was doing really bad. I mean, the whole top was wilting. I put it outside a couple of days ago. It looks like, at least at the bottom, it's starting to strengthen up again. So we'll see how they do out here. It's supposed to be, I guess, between 55 and 75 over the next 6 days here in Texas. So I think that they should be okay. 4 of these have been outside for a little over a week now. And they're doing just fine. This one, I mean, it's been down to 45 a few nights. I mean, you can see this one's doing really well. And from the look of it, I believe they'll make it. I've pruned some of the dying branches, if you will, shoots off, some of the dying leaves off. So they're not as nice as I'd like them to look this update. But again, this is what happens when you are about a month past ideal bring them outside transplanting situations. So anyway, they seem to be thriving a little bit more now that I brought them out. We go through this ugly phase where they'll started to wilt and they'll strengthen up hopefully. It's supposed to be rainy over the next couple of days, but you know, 55 to 75 with some rain. So I guess that'll probably soak them in really good. I noticed when I pulled them out of the pots, the roots were not only root bound, they seemed weak, weaker than I would have expected. And the stalks on these were pretty thin as well. And I believe that's just from not producing enough photosynthesis. So we'll see how they go. I'm too afraid to bring out all my peppers, but I did bring out 5 varieties here. I've got my chocolate habanero here. It was my smallest of the 3 that I had. I brought out a Tasmanian habanero. It was also the smallest of the 3 that I have. I then put one of my New Mexico Big Jims. Again, all of these 5 were the smallest of the varieties I have. I have 3 of every variety I've shown so far. These were the 3 smallest of the 3 varieties so far. And then the same with the Joala Finger. I had one that's producing a lot of peppers. I'll show you an update on that one later. A second one that started to produce peppers. And this one I cut off all the flowers, trimmed it down about a week ago. It's still the smallest, but I brought it out. And then I only have 2 orange Scotch bonnet. This was the one that had all the disease. So it's been trimmed to nothing. It's coming back now, as you can see. It's a little grainy, but it's coming back. I only have 2 of those, but I'll probably put a second one in front here, and then I'll fill in another variety along here, and I'll fill in the rest of this probably in a couple of weeks, maybe less. But I wanted to get some peppers on the ground to see how they do for the next week or 2 before I brought the rest of them out. So again, we'll go inside and take a look at the rest of the plants. I just wanted to show you that I've officially started bringing some plants outside. And as you can see, to keep the rabbits out, I have these little fences around them. So before I head inside, I wanted to show you my potato plants. I did end up taking the red potato bin and planting the potatoes into this bigger bin. It's about 3 times the size of the other one. This is roughly from here to here about almost 7.5, 8 inches. So I'm going to be adding more dirt because when I put them in this bigger bin, they were only sticking up about 1.5 to 2 inches from the top. And now they're already at 4 to 5 inches again. So I will be definitely transferring these, adding more dirt to bury the stems so that I get more root growth and possibly more potatoes. And then I wanted to show you, this is the garlic, cloves, chives, whatever. They've come back to life a little bit being outside, but they've got several more weeks to really come back fully. I've lost another 1 or 2 since then, but they're starting to live again now that the damn gnats and fungus gnats are gone. So anyway, we'll go back inside in a second. Just wanted to give you an update on the red potato plants. Thank you. All right, so we're back inside now. I wanted to give you a quick look at everything going on in here. I guess I'll start with my peppers. No, I'll start with my herbs as usual. My oregano, I mean, I've cut several inches off of these. It's an abundant amount of oregano, thyme, and basil. I mean, heck, I told you last time I can't even keep up. I made spaghetti sauce with the basil and the oregano. I've put the basil and the oregano and the thyme in my eggs. No matter what I do, they just come back thicker, fuller, and greener. So I may even have some leaves dying at the bottom in here because I can't even get some of the ones in the middle without peeling them apart. I'm going to put those out eventually outside on a different spot. I'm making that extra small bed, and I'll probably put those in that. But for now, the herbs will stay in here because easy access. It's a little muddy out there right now. This is a lot more fun for me to get to them. My sweet bell peppers, mini bell peppers, are all doing well. I topped them all last time. They've got several shoots. They're already starting to go to bud again, so it looks like I'll be trimming buds off of these like crazy, because the one thing I've learned, and I'll show you that on another plant, is if you prevent them from going to flowers, they seem to produce a lot more hardier plants and a lot more foliage, which then will have a lot more peppers when you want them. And I know that I've read that and seen that, but my own greed to have and see peppers has caused me to kind of forego all of the advice that I've heard. And now that I've gotten a taste of the peppers and stuff, I'm going to do the smart thing and produce stronger, healthier plants. In the meantime, though, I am going to let these 5 serrano peppers go to full fruit. I've trimmed off every single one of the other flowers and flower buds, and it seems to have helped make all of these, I guess it's 6, grow a lot faster. I'm not going to pull those out. They're hard to get to. But I will show you a couple things. One is I've got my New Mexico Big Jim peppers right here. This was my second big plant. You saw the third runt outside. This one has got a few peppers on it. I recently cut off almost every other flowering bud, but I kept a couple of the flowers. Since I got 3 of these plants, I'm gonna let these 5 or 6 flowers go to fruit, and if I see it lagging behind, I will then proceed with cutting off the rest of these. I don't know why it's the HD is not as good on my camera this time, but anyway, probably my settings, and I don't want to stop filming. My Jewala finger, let me get this guy out of here. This is the one that I had been harvesting over and over and over again. Had produced 14 peppers. I cut off about 20 peppers. I've kept 2 on it. I'm going to keep these 2 on it. They were small when I cut everything off, and I wanted to see how fast they mature and grow. And they're growing quickly. So I've cut all the other flowers off it. And as you can see, there is a ton of new growth everywhere. So I'm real happy that I made the decision to cut all of them off except for a few of them. So I'm going to let those keep going to peppers. I do have that tomato plant. It most definitely is a tomato plant. That random seed that was in those pepper packs. So it's definitely a tomato. I'm going to actually grow this out so I can see what brand it is. Hopefully it's not a grape or a Roma like I am growing, but I'm happy that I have it. My orange Scotch bonnet has recently gone to budding, and you know what? I'm gonna let it have about 5 or 6 flowers like you see there. And once the fruit's set on those 5 or 6, I will cut the rest of them off. It's literally budding like crazy. Again, I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I'm gonna let it have 5 or 6. It's a pretty healthy big plant. It's about a foot and a little over a foot tall. So I'm gonna give it, I want to get a couple of fruits from it before I stop. That's the other Jewala finger. Way too many finger peppers on it. I'm going to cut everything off that's not a fruit and I'm gonna let the 8 or 10 go to fruit, since I know those can produce about 12 to 14 peppers without really causing stress on the plant. It's also a pretty healthy big plant, so I'm not looking at holding it back too much. It does already have several larger peppers already on it. Again, we'll trim it down quite a bit here once I pull it out after the video. All right. So then I've now repotted into 1 gallon pots all of my other plants. This is my second Fresno pepper. I've cut it down to just 4 fruits, and I will end up harvesting those probably before they turn red. They're already starting to turn a little red again and mature, but I really like the taste of the green Fresno peppers, so I'm going to probably just go ahead and do that. The original Fresno pepper plant, let me get this red Savina out of the way. The original Fresno pepper plant actually had those 4 on top after I harvest the 4, and all 4 of those are really taking off now. So it's obvious. You can see where I cut the other fruits off. Let me see if I get this to zoom in. 1 there, 2 were down there. So these 4 that were stunted, as soon as I cut the other peppers off, they've taken off. Once those get to a harvestable size, just a little bigger than those, I will cut those off, and then I will focus my 2 Fresno peppers on just producing foliage and getting bigger and stronger. I've got some purple jalapenos, so I've recently cut off every single, let me see if I get a better view. I got 2 down there and 1 up there. I cut off every single bud, every other, and there's a couple examples on the bottom of the flowers and some buds that I cut off, but there is a lot more than that. I cut off all of them. I'm just going to focus on those 3 fruits, and that's it. The leaves are turning purple. I've never grown a purple jalapeno before, so I'm not sure if that's normal. It's the only one that has those purple leaves, and it's called a purple jalapeno, so I'm guessing that's normal. I don't know. You'll recall that I had some purpling on that orange Scotch bonnet I planted outside, and the leaves fell off. But these have been like this for a while, and the leaves aren't falling off. I'll give you an example of what that looks like. If you look at these, they have some purple dots. That's a little different than what you see on that jalapeno. And that's the stuff that seems to weaken the leaves, but it only has it on the original 6 or 7 leaves, but they haven't fallen off. So I don't know. I'm not going to pull them off, cut them off. It doesn't seem to be bothering the plant. I'm leaving them alone. Check out my New Mexico Big Jim. That pepper is now, my hand's got some ink on it because I was labeling those sticks outside, but that sucker is now about 5.5, 6 inches. These get 10 to 12. The second fruit is small. I mean, it's only about 3 inches, and I know that this one's taking the majority of the nutrients. I cut off all of the other buds, and it started to produce more shoots. So I think with this New Mexico Big Jim, the demand on that pepper is just so high that it has to only have a few fruit for such a small plant. Once that is harvestable, I'll cut it off, and then when that becomes harvestable, I'll cut it off, and I'm not letting anything else go to fruit or bud on that one at all. My Tasmanian habanero plant is doing well. We've actually got a few flowers on this one, and again, I'm going to try to get 4 or 5 at the most plants on that one, or fruits, because I want to at least get a couple of fruits on every plant before A, I put it outside, and B, I want to make sure the plant produces the kind of peppers that it's supposed to. I'm not going to let it produce more than that, and I will be putting these outside eventually. Real quick, my grape tomatoes are down here. I ended up creating a stick that's attached to it's just kind of wedged in there to pull these up. These are the 6 grape tomatoes.